As men, we are very concerned about manhood and manliness. We want to make sure that we are exemplifying manliness in our everyday life. And we want to make sure that we're making a good show of it to the people who are watching us, namely our sons, young men who look at us as mentors. And we're always wondering if we're living up to snuff, if we're doing the right thing, if we've actually got it pinned down correctly and defining it by its appropriate terms. So what we often do is we look to other men to help us define what manhood is really all about. And one of the greatest people I think that anybody could ever explore, but study, is Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt was a man among men. And I would suggest picking up any biographies, watching any videos you can about him. He was the quintessential man. When he was growing up as a young boy, he was very weak, anemic, and he wanted to be stronger. And so his father told him, he said that you have to build your body. You have to get stronger. In other words, it's your responsibility. You take it into your own hands. You make yourself a man by getting yourself physically stronger. No one else can do that for you. And that set him on a path towards manhood that he never turned away from. Eventually, he became very good at boxing. He was very good at Japanese jiu-jitsu. And so, he used to try to exemplify being a man also for his children. He would go on hunting excursions, and he would even have his game he'd play with his kids, whereby he would take them out into nature, and he would point at a particular object or a spot, and they would race to it. But the object was, you make a straight line for wherever you're headed toward. It might be a building, it might be just a tree, it might be a particular spot anywhere in the landscape, but you make a straight beeline for that target. And he would tell his kids, whenever you come to an impediment, whenever you come to an obstacle, you may go under it, over it, through it, but never around it. I don't care if you have to climb it, if you have to dig underneath it, or if you have to ram your way through it, but don't go around the obstacle. And he was teaching his kids a very good lesson in doing that. But he was very manly. And he said something one time that I really liked a lot. And this is why I titled this video the way I have. He once said that what such a man needs is not courage, but nerve control, cool-headedness. And that he can only get by practice. Think about that. What you need more than courage is cool-headedness, grace, poise in any given situation. Things aren't going to go your way. Oftentimes, everything goes wrong, or it seems like it. It's the way we think of it. And so, oftentimes, the first thing somebody does when something doesn't go their way is they gripe, they complain, they whine, or they give up, or they freeze. They don't do anything at all. How many times have you seen someone come to an obstacle and they don't do anything at all? They just stop and they don't go any further. But life is going to hand you plenty of situations like that. You might get an alarming message from your doctor telling you that you're not in the greatest health, that something has to be treated right away. You might find yourself overnight in debt because of something way beyond your control, and you had to come up with the money for it. Now, everything is blown to bits financially for you. Or, who knows? I mean, all sorts of things go wrong. Your wife serves you divorce papers, and you thought everything was okay. But things in life will do everything they can to attempt Everything in life will attempt to knock you off your pins. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right because I'm kind of in a rush. But get my point. Approach everything with cool-headedness. Use grace and poise, or have grace and poise. And it's not easy. And I am not the shining example of this, but I strive to be. I wish I could say that I'm very cool-headed and that I'm very level-headed, but my wife would tell you differently. And I'm getting better, though. I'm certainly a lot better than I was 20 years ago. In fact, I look at my life 20, 30 years ago, how I conducted myself, and I'm quite embarrassed. And so, I don't ever want to be that way again. I don't want to be that person anymore. And sometimes it takes many years to get to the point where you realize you've been aiming for the wrong target. You've been chasing the wrong object. You've been approaching things all the wrong way. You've been defining manhood in uncertain terms, or by the wrong ones altogether. And you need to reassess. But it takes time. Like Theodore Roosevelt said, that you can only have cool-headedness by practice. It takes repeated exposure. You have to expose yourself to hardship, like he made his kids do. You have to expose yourself to hardship, be willing to overcome obstacles, not shy away from them, but plow your way through them, crawl underneath them, or climb over them. But don't just seek a way around it. And don't just stop and freeze in your tracks, because that's what a lot of people do. So change the way you think and develop a cool head. It'll give you grace and it'll give you poise. And it's a very attractive, charismatic characteristic that you will have. And that's why that older people oftentimes have a charisma that younger people don't. And that's why they're admired and respected, and they should be, because they've learned, or you hope they have. Let this stick with you. I hope it means something to you, but be willing to expose yourself to hardship with equanimity, with a cool head, not losing it, but determining to think your way through it in a calm manner. You'll respect yourself, and others will respect you also. All right, guys, I hope that meant something to you. Have a great day. I've got to get to work. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Catch you later. Bye-bye.